Hello beautifuls, this is Aromie here, and welcome back to Seduce Me 2, where last episode we were messing with tarot cards and got a horrible fate story. So yeah, I knew she was trying to make me feel better. I knew that there was something going on. However, as the thought of my marriage came up, I knew that I'd have to calm down eventually. There were cards and my marriage was still happening regardless of what they said. I closed my eyes and slowly started to ignore the signs, the cards, and the nightmare in my head. This wouldn't help me and I had to prepare for my wedding. Carrie muttered an incantation? I don't even know anymore. Under her breath, and when I opened my eyes, the cards had all disappeared. I hugged Carrie tighter, silently thanking her for removing them. I had to be stronger. I had to. As the day went on, I enlisted Carrie to help with the wedding arrangements. Surprisingly, we got a majority of the work needed done, so that gave us time to relax and watch a movie together before James returned from work. Wanting to leave us alone, Carrie left as soon as he came.
Hey, did everything go all right? I'm assuming Carrie helped.
Yeah, she did. For some reason, I felt the need to hug him. I just needed to. Without warning, I walked over and wrapped my arms around James, laying my head against his chest.
Huh? Love?
As James wrapped his arms around me and kissed the top of my head, I smiled. He would be with me and I would be okay.
I love you.
I love you too. My heart felt at ease. Everything would be fine. Everything would be okay. James looked down at me, pulling away silently. Oh, slightly, not silently, to see my face with a smile.
So, what would you like for dinner? We can go out to eat, or we can stay at home and I can make something.
I held James' hands in mine, knowing that I wanted to just stay home with him. We had more than enough for the wedding, yes, but our time together was better spent alone together rather than at a restaurant. How about we order food instead? You just came back from work. Might as well relax. James chuckled softly before kissing my cheek, making me giggle softly.
As my wonderful bride wishes.
We ordered takeout and sat together in our room, once again making the bed a picnic area. We played a movie in the background, but our focus was on each other. He made himself comfy without a shirt, and I made myself comfy with my head against his shoulder.
So, is everything all right? I made sure the reception hall was taken care of on my way back, so that should be in order.
Oh wow, good, thank you. Yeah, everything's in order. We'll have a perfect wedding.
Was there anything you wanted to add to the wedding? It's not too late to include anything you like if you really want it.
Oh, that's so cute. No, I don't think so. I think everything we have is good. James nodded before continuing to eat. I, however, stopped and stared at James. I was really going to get married to him. It was strange to imagine that I was really about to swear my life to someone for all the time. It was like a demon. It was like a dream come true. Why would I ever let something stupid like a nightmare shake me from it? Screw the nightmare. I was going to live a dream. I gently moved my food to the nightstand and placed the hand under James' plate, making him stop to look up at me. I softly pulled it away from him, placing his food next to mine, before crawling over James and sitting over his lap. Promise me something?
Huh? Anything.
Promise to stay with me forever. It seemed like a simple and obvious promise, but I wanted to hear him profess it. James continued to look up at me, silently understanding my need to hear it, and wrapped his arms around my body.
I promise to stay with you forever.
Until the end of time?
Until the end of time.
You can't break your promise to me, ever.
I would never dream of it.
James moved a hand up and tenderly caressed my cheek, making me nuzzle into his hand and closed my eyes.
You're the one I want to spend my entire life with. I will give everything and more to you for as long as I possibly can as your husband.
No. I felt tears slowly run down my cheeks, which were soon brushed away by James' thumb. I nuzzled further into James' hand and held his wrist, almost hugging his arm to my chest.
Is the nightmare you had last night bothering you?
I couldn't help but nod in reply, frowning and biting my lower lip. I didn't want it to bother me. It wasn't worth it. I knew that James would stay with me and would never hurt me. James gently wrapped his arm across my back and pulled me against his chest, moving his head to nuzzle my other cheek comfortingly.
Do you want to tell me what happened, or will you be okay?
I moved to wrap my arms around James. I wasn't sure if I wanted to tell him at all. Tell him, why not? We're gonna get married and we're already hiding secrets? No. I gently pulled away from him to look into his eyes. I had to tell him. It was about him, after all. I was in a dungeon. I was there with Diana.
Diana? Did she try to hurt you?
No, actually, she was trying to protect me.
From who?
You. James stared surprised at me, but remained silent as I continued. You came in and enthralled me, but it wasn't like you usually do. It was forceful and I didn't want it, but it was under your control. Diana tried to stop you, but you shot her. Then you came for me. For some reason, a weight was lifted from my shoulders. It was a terrible dream, but James deserved to know. As I finished recounting the nightmare, James gently moved his hands up and cupped my face in them.
Thank you for telling me, and I'm sorry that you experienced that kind of nightmare. But I swear to you that I will never hurt you.
I let myself become lost in his amber eyes, believing every single word he said. I could feel the love and care in his voice, and his warm hands assured me that he would protect me from harm. I wrapped my arms once again around James and let my head rest on his shoulder as his arms encircled my form. I loved him. He loved me. We would protect and love each other. Soon enough the wedding day had come. I had received many pre-wedding gifts from guests that couldn't come, but I knew many people would still be at the wedding since James was the Anderson Toy Company CEO. I even got fun texts from Naomi, Suzu, and Carrie as they tried to tease me with pictures of James in his wedding tux, but I deleted them all without peeking. I didn't want to see him yet. He didn't get to see my wedding dress, so I wanted to wait to see him in his tux. I was gonna say suit. Alas, I had decided to dress alone at the mansion. The girls had ordered help, but I needed the time to myself. I had to reflect on the days ahead. I was about to be married. It was insane. I couldn't stop staring at myself in the mirror, dressed in the wedding dress of my dreams. Is this really happening? I knew the air wouldn't answer me, but I felt myself need to speak my thoughts aloud. I could hardly believe that I was about to walk out of the house and be someone's wife, James' wife. The thought of us together made me smile and close my eyes.
Talking to you.
A voice I didn't know sent shivers up and down my spine. I suddenly looked around, hearing the voice echo in the room.
Essay di bere. Bilakwilem otus na pisare.
Okay, what was going on? Why was I hearing voices? This couldn't be happening. I held my head, trying to stop the sounds in case I was dreaming or imagining them.
Destinat. Nos vedere. Viene la vita infata.
Stop! I screamed at the voices, not knowing what they were saying, but wanting them to go away. What I didn't realize was that my screams let out some sort of spell that seemed to freeze the air around me. Everything was still and silent. I could feel, however, that the room around me was frozen in time.
I knew it. I knew it. That girl has demon magic.
What the?
Then quit talking and let's take her. The demon lord will be so pleased.
Who? Before I could turn to search for the voices, I felt hands grab hold of my feet, and I looked down and lifted my dress. Two pairs of evil-looking hands had taken hold of my ankles, reaching through a dark red and purple pentagram. I shrieked, trying to pull my legs away, but couldn't stop them as they swiftly pulled me into the ground. I was pulled deeper into the darkness. I was no longer in my room. I was being dragged through a dark void, one that couldn't escape. I reached out and clawed at the dark, trying to find something to grab onto. I tried to pull my legs away from the hands that were holding them, but couldn't pull free. What was going on? Why was this happening? Someone help me! As if someone had heard my screams, I suddenly felt the hands let go and disappear, leaving me to float in the darkness as they left me in. I shut my eyes. Please let this be a dream. Please. I finally felt a surface under my feet, and I collapsed onto it. My body curling in on itself from the experience I had. I didn't dare tear my eyes away from my lap, not ready to get up just yet. The voice I heard, however, made my heart stop.
You. What?
Alright, and crying as usual. Ask about Diana. Ask if she's okay. And let's just stay in the room because we've always been exploring. It was better to be safe than sorry. I fell back onto the bed and closed my eyes, contemplating taking a nap to make time go by faster. Staying in my room was the best option for me, both so that I wouldn't get lost and that I'd be okay in case of the guards were on duty. I let out a small sigh before looking around the room. Was there anything I wanted to look at closer?
Excuse me.
Oh, this is the first time I actually, not left, right? Before I could find anything, I looked to the door towards the voice. Peeking in was a rabbit woman, cautiously remaining behind the door while looking at me.
Are you feeling okay?
Huh? Yeah, I am. Thank you. Please come in. I trusted this woman despite barely knowing her. She assisted me in coming to this room and she was one of Diana's comrades, so I felt that I could put my trust in her. The woman nodded before stepping into the room and closing the door behind her. She turned to me and stood by the door.
I'm assuming Diana told you about the situation.
Yeah, I'll be back home tonight. That's the hope anyway.
Yes. We sent our agents as soon as we knew what we had to gather. We're positive they will turn up before nightfall, and we'll be able to cast a gateway spell.
Hopefully. I nodded and let out a small sigh. It would be a long wait, but it would be worth it if it worked. The woman, however, took a step forward.
May I ask you something?
Sure. I looked at the woman, slightly confused. Sure, go ahead. Well, what is it?
Well,
I watched as the woman reached up and rubbed one of her ears, almost in nervousness. What was she nervous about? Finally, she spoke again, releasing her ear.
would you mind if I asked you about the human world?
The human world? Why would she be curious about the human world? She was a demon that looked like an anthropomorphic rabbit. Big word. The woman hugged her large staff against her body. She shrugged.
How are things like in the human world? Is there equality amongst your races?
Nope.
I've only heard stories. But since you're a human yourself, you would know.
My mind ran back to the social life of the human world. At least in America, we claimed to be equal, but we had major prejudice amongst our races, whether we liked it or not. I found myself to be on neutral ground, not wishing to be extreme on either opinion, but knowing the difference between what was morally right and wrong. I looked at the woman and shook my head, making her eyes widen slightly. We're not exactly equal. I mean, we try, but we're pretty divided. However, it's only one of the many problems we face. The woman nodded before walking over and sitting down on the beds beside
I
me.
see. Are there major wars fought because of it?
Oh my gosh. In a way, we have marches and movements, but we at least try not to escalate to the war where I live. It's better to resolve things without violence.
That's smart. I hope that equality can be found in your world.
I don't see that coming anytime soon. What about here? The woman shook her head, her smile turning a bit grim. I could tell that things are rough here, just from looking at her expression.
We have sort of a caste system here. What kind of demon you are determines what life you live. Demons of Lilith like Diana are usually royals and nobles, while animal demons like me are much lower in the ranks.
I could hear her anger and shame just from her voice alone. Were things really that bad here? That's horrible. I'm so sorry.
It's alright. That's why I joined the rebellion. We intend to make changes, make it better. I want to be part of that and help fix things.
You go, girl. There was confidence in her words that didn't match the look in her eyes. She knew something was off in what she said, but she expressed it anyways as her reply to me. I didn't know whether or not to be proud or keep silent. I wouldn't be here long, so I decided to keep my mouth shut. The woman shook her head out as if she was scattering the thoughts from her mind, and she looked at me.
So, you are getting married. You must be excited to get back with your family and soon-to-be partner.
Huh? Oh yeah, I'm excited to go back. For a brief moment, I had nearly forgotten that I was getting married. My mind began to wander to the one who was waiting for me, making my heart ache as I looked down at my lap. The rabbit woman looked down as well.
I'm sorry. I didn't mean to make you upset. But you will be home soon.
I nodded. I shouldn't have let it get me down, but I really did miss being in the human world. I think anyone in my situation will understand, especially since I was a bride. I looked at my hand, seeing my engagement ring and matching the wedding ring that was made for me, replacing it. Soon enough it would be on my finger, and I would be able to continue living my life as normal. Pulling myself out of my thoughts, I looked at the woman as she stood and bowed to me.
Well, I should leave you be. I will bring food whenever it is ready, so that you don't starve.
Thank you, I appreciate it. With that, the woman left, leaving me alone in my room to wait. Skip. Refuse it. And this is when it failed.
Whoa!
I gotcha. Whoa!
See, I don't get why we
I
can't
got
skip
it.
this
Look.
part, because that we already read all that before. To my surprise, Diana quickly moved out of the way, allowing him to approach and wrap his arms around me. The feeling of his body against mine sent a shiver up my spine. He was really here. Yes, Prince Charming is actually here. So beautiful. Well, that's where we're going to stop today. And yeah, that's where we're going to stop today. Stay beautiful, and I'll catch you guys in the next one.